So, how much money does a real estate agent need to make in order to be deemed as successful, or more importantly, to reach their own family goals, have the quality of life that they want? That's our topic today. Welcome to today's morning meeting. I'm Greg Luther, the one guy that meets with you every single day to help you in growing your business. And what's the point of growing your business if you don't know where you're going? Any road will get you there. If you don't have that GPS laid out and you have a well mapped route that you're taking here, there's a really good chance you're going to end up somewhere you don't want to be. And I had a conversation yesterday or the day before yesterday. I posted something on Facebook and a big conversation thread got going about this. And I started thinking like, for the average realtor, how much money do you need to gross in order to have the net you need to have the quality of lifestyle that you want to have? Or maybe that you need to have, the bare minimum that you would have. So I want your comments on this. I want you to let me know in the comments section here, how much money does an agent need to gross in order to net a certain amount? If you know what that number is, it's easier for you to shoot for that. It's easier for you to get a marketing campaign together, to do your conversions, to do what needs to be done in order to get to that point. But if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. So we started out with this conversation about $200,000 and how $200,000 is nowhere near enough money for a real estate agent as a gross number to become successful, to even have a decent quality of lifestyle, pay off all your debts, and build a retirement account for yourself, just so you can live a normal life, not even above average, but just a normal life. And we started talking about this, and we were getting a few comments coming in. I'm curious as to your thoughts as well. What do you think you need to gross in order to reach your family's goals? Now, let's look at some numbers here, because obviously we know your gross number is not your net number. As a matter of fact, those are way, way far apart. What you gross really doesn't matter as opposed to what you net. To be clear, I don't know the exact number, but I believe General Motors grossed $9 billion with a B, $9 billion, and lost money. They made less money than a homeless guy. They made less than zero with $9 billion in income. Now, that's an extreme exaggeration, or an extreme example, I should say, a real life example. But as a realtor, if you bring in 200 grand, you don't make 200 grand. Many agents wish they could make half of what they bring in. You've got company splits with the broker. You've got professional dues. You have lots of advertising costs. If you're doing a good job for your client, you're spending a lot of money on advertising and that marketing side, not only on your properties, but in promoting your own service. You've got lots of expenses for continuing ed, for all of the, your vehicle, your insurance, the extra things that we have that way, for your websites, for your CRMs, for all of the, even your data, your forms, all of your DocuSign, like everything that you pay money for is a business expense that comes off of that gross number of 200 grand. So for a lot of agents, now that doesn't even include if you have a transaction coordinator, you have an admin, an unlicensed person, licensed assistants, or team members that are helping you. All of these fees add up pretty quickly, so that if you were, that magic number, that methodical number we came up with here, 200 grand, you are not a six-figure earner if you're grossing 200 grand. You're not. In most cases, you're not. So is the number 250? Is it 300? Is it 400? Is it 500? What kind of number you need to have? And I want you to really think about this, because look, depending on what your retirement looks like. Now, we all know that the vast majority of people, if you're somewhat healthy, you're probably living to 3 digits nowadays. With the medical advancements that are out there, and those continue, it's not unrealistic to think you'll live to 90 or 95, but some are going to live beyond that. But I want you to think about that, because for a lot of agents, that's going to mean 20 or 30 years with no income. Worse, it's going to be 20 or 30 years with no income, with massive inflation, even if inflation gets down to 2% or 5% per year. By the time you retire, and then the additional 10, 20, 30 years that you have there, it's going to be ridiculous expenses just to get by. So how much money do you think you need to have put back in order to live 20 or 30 years minimum, 20 or 30 years with no income? There were an awful lot of agents when the pandemic hit. There were an awful lot of agents that couldn't go 90 days without income. Oh, we're essential. No, we're non-essential. No, I can't afford to shut down my business. Well, hopefully the government give me some money because I don't think I'm going to be able to make all of those issues that were happening over 3 months. You're not going to need 3 months. You're not going to need 3 years. You're going to need 3 decades of investment that you can utilize as your retirement account, or you're going to run out of money and you're going to be working at Wendy's because Walmart no longer accepts greeters. You've seen lots of those people outlive their money. Nothing wrong with it, but they had decades of warnings it was going to happen to them, and they didn't plan accordingly. There are a lot of agents that are right now in their 50s or 60s or beyond, and they still have debt, which means they're at less than zero. If you have debt, it means you're at less than zero. You don't have a positive net worth. You have a negative net worth, not only owing on your house and owing on your car, but owing on credit cards, on student loans, on IRS, on medical bills. You still have debt. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to have a plan of action to attack it. It's your responsibility to make sure you can make that go away so you can start building a net worth. There are a lot of agents. If I said you need $2 million to retire, the published number is higher than that. And you need far more than that anyway. That's absolutely nothing by the time that comes. But if I said you needed 2 million, how many of you would say I'm only, how short are you of 2 million? About 2.3 million short of $2 million. So from a realistic perspective, if you make 200 grand and you net 90 or 100, and then you have to pay taxes on that, and then you have your regular living expenses, is there anything for you to create a retirement? See, we don't get a salary. We don't have employer matched 401k. We don't have Social Security and all these extra things, pension plans and retirement funds and all these extra. We don't have everything combined to help us when it comes time to retire. It's our responsibility. So the fact is, you may not be shooting high enough. I'm curious as to your opinion, and there's no right or wrong answer here. This might be a really good way for us to get a great conversation going to learn everybody's opinion. And what I'm going to ask, by the way, is number one, leave your comments here, but don't be judgmental of others. Maybe you can learn something from their thought, and then you can put in your own, and maybe they'll learn from yours, and we can all, as a group, come up with something. But I'm curious, how much do you think you need to gross on an annual basis to net what you need to put money back? I told an agent the other day, I said, look, if you were at zero today, you had no debt, but you had no positive or negative numbers, you're just at $0. If you put away $100,000 a year, and after taxes profit, if you put away $100,000 a year, it's going to take you 20 years to get to the 2 mil. Let me give you that again. If you can clear 100 grand after all expenses to a net figure, then pay your taxes and all the other fees you have involved to put away, and then pay all your regular household bills every month, to put away 100 grand a month or 100 grand a year, you'd have to do that for 20 years to get to 2 million. And 2 million's not, as the published number by any financial advisor in the world. If you retire with 2 mil, you may end up sharing meals at Denny's. You may end up sharing meals with your spouse, sharing a meal at IHOP before it's over, because medical expenses will be a lot higher. Living expenses will be a lot higher. Your cell phone bill, your electric bill, your fuel bill, your car, all of that stuff is going to be a whole lot higher by the time you retire, regardless of what's going on with the economy, regardless of who's in the office or anything else. Your expenses are going to be a lot more than they are now. Heck, decades ago, you could probably retire on like 50 grand, right? Or 300 grand or something like that. But you certainly aren't going to be able to when it's time for you to retire. I think the published number today is 2.3 million that you need to have. So if you're at zero today, which is to say you paid all of your debts off and you're at zero today, you owe nothing, you're going to need to put back 100,000 a year. And after expenses, after taxes, after household daily, monthly expenses that you have and buying yourself food and everything else, you need an extra 100 grand to put back for 20 years if you plan to work 20 years. And again, 2 million is not going to be enough, but you would need to do that for 20 years. How much money do you need to make as a real estate agent? So let me know your thoughts here in the comments here. I'd like to know your thoughts on this. Here, probably need to gross this number, and here's why. Okay, we don't even need to get into the net or what expenses, or I'm with this brokerage, so the split's not as bad. I'm with 100%. None of that stuff matters. What I want to know is, what is your opinion as to the gross amount an agent needs to bring in order to net what they need to have a normal living lifestyle? Nothing crazy. We don't need Lamborghinis, nothing crazy, but to live a normal lifestyle, but also to have a retirement account. Since we don't get a 401k, what kind of retirement, and 401k is not enough anyway, but what would we need to have in order to successfully retire and, not be showing homes when it's icy out and snowy out, or, when you're 96 years old, or when it's 486 degrees in Florida in July and August. You don't want to be showing homes when people feel sorry for you. Like, oh, are you okay? Can I help you up the step? Oh, I hope my realtor doesn't fall down. You don't want to be in that position. So I'm curious as to your thoughts, and I'd like to see lots of opinions here. How much do you think you probably ought to gross? Maybe you're using the swag method, the scientific wild ass guess of how much you need to have as a gross number, and then maybe even put some thoughts on there on what kind of expenses would be involved and what do you think that will net you, and then you got to pay taxes on that net. Holy crap, maybe now I see what my finance problems are. Maybe now I see that I thought if I said I brought in 100 grand in commissions, mistakenly thought I was a six-figure earner. No, you're not. No, you are not. That's like saying General Motors was making billions when they were losing money and they needed the government to bail them out. You guys remember those days? They were bringing in billions, but they lost money every time they sold a car. And their theory was, we need to sell more cars. No, you better figure out a way to make a car at a more profitable position. So I want you to think about this so that you do make the right choice for you as a business owner. You probably need to be shooting a lot higher than where you are right now. One of the big things I do when I meet with our inner circle coaching members is I find out, like, what do you deem as success for you? Maybe that is not the road you want to actually take. We might need to adjust that a little bit. Let's stop thinking about how much money I need to live on today. And let's realize that we are the business owner. We are our retirement account. We are our pension plan. We are our golden parachute, right? We are the ones responsible for this. And if you're at less than zero right now, it means you probably got to turn on the jets. You got to get some assistance. You got to find out, how can I make more money? That post that I was talking about the day before yesterday, and you can see it on Facebook if you go to Greg Luther Coaching. But that post that we were talking about there was really about an agent that was bragging 95% of their business came from past clients and referrals. Well, that means your business sucks. Now, I know that you feel that's honorable that 95% of your business came from past clients and referrals, but that was like, in this agent's case, it was like 130 grand gross. So if those 14 transactions are 14 transactions, it would be 14 transactions for you if it was 5% of your business, but you have all this other stuff that's bringing in money for you. It's still 14 deals. Just don't let that be all of your business. Let's let it be 14 deals. That's 5% of your business, or 10, right? If it were 10% of your business, you're closing 140 deals. You're in business, but you're missing that other 90%. You're missing that big business of bringing in new clients, which come from marketing and advertising. It comes from getting your services out there so more people know you, like you, and trust you. So I'm hoping this is a head scratcher for you. I'm hoping this is a little bit of a brain bender here. Holy crap. Maybe I'm not thinking big enough, which means that's why I'm not acting big enough. I got excited that I got a $15,000 commission check. Once that all gets separated and divvied out and everybody gets their cut, and then Uncle Sam gets his cut too, it's going to be a bad month. So you have to think about, what does my gross number need to be, and know your numbers. I mean, you know how important that is no matter what industry you're in. You got to know your numbers and know that if you make 200 grand, you wish you got half of that. You wish you could net half before taxes. Because even if you got 100, you ain't getting 100. You're already down to 60, 70. Out of a $200,000 commission total, you're already down to 60 or 70,000. Let alone the fact that when you're at that low number, there's not as much net. As you go up, right, there's more profit margin there. So you will have a higher percentage of profit from 300 grand than you will at 200. You would have a higher percentage of profit at 400 grand than you would at 300. But if you grow so big that you start hiring on help and you have team members and they're already taking 50%, you have to double where you got to go from 400 to 800 to be equal. You got to go from 400 grand to 800 grand a year to make the same money if somebody's taking half your money. So it's not about gross. It does come down to net, but you need to know what your numbers are. And I think you'll see that, or you'll realize here, and look at the comments. I want you to leave a comment. Seriously, log into YouTube account here. If you don't have an account, set one up right now. And I want your opinion. Maybe that's the first time you've ever posted on YouTube. Do it here right now. Let me know. What do you think? What's your opinion? What kind of gross income do you need to have a regular living? I'm not talking about extravagant here. I'm talking about a regular, normal living, like you own a normal house. You have a normal car. Nothing extravagant here. But you're also able to pay off all your debts and put money away so that you can have a retirement. And again, thinking that 100 grand a year for 20 years is not going to be enough. What kind of gross number do you think you need to have here? Let me know in your comments here. I'd love to know your opinion. I'm going to come in and kind of look through this. And again, be constructive here. This is not about being right or being wrong or thinking someone else is wrong. Somebody inevitably is going to say, I'd be happy living on 20 grand. I love ramen noodles. If I could make 20 grand a year, I'd be happy. Like somebody's going to say that. And somebody's going to say, I need to make 3 million a year. That doesn't mean there's a right or wrong answer. But I'd like to come to some kind of a consensus. What do we think the position called real estate agent, what do we think they need to gross to lead a natural, normal, average life and have an okay retirement? Let's look at those numbers. Let's look at our responses here and see as a community if we can come up with a number that makes sense. I'm working on some big stuff coming up for those of you that are Inner Circle coaching members. I'm working on some big stuff coming up for our Hustle and Grow conference. Many of you know we have that coming up in June, and it's going to relate to this. It's going to relate to how you build your business the right way to make the kind of money you need to get your retirement accounts where they need to be, and ultimately just retire successfully. Just say, you know what? It was a job well earned. It was a retirement well earned and a retirement well deserved. You earned every penny of it. And you did a great job positioning yourself over the long haul to become successful. That's so much better than chasing your tail every month. So I've got some big stuff coming up for you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. By the way, if you're not following this page, please do so now. Set up an account with YouTube. It's free. You need an email address. Set up an account. Follow this channel. I believe it's right here. Follow this channel and ring the bell. That's to turn on notifications. You'll ring the little bell there to let you know every day we have a morning meeting. A lot of it's going to be centered around what I'm doing with our Inner Circle coaching members. If you are not an Inner Circle coaching member with us, click the link here below, the video description. You'll see some cool stuff. But you know what would be fun? You know what I'd love to see here today? I'd love to see you share this with another agent and get their opinion. They have no idea who Greg Luther is. They're not involved in any coaching programs. They might be brand new in the business, or they may be selling for 30 or 35 years in real estate. But I'm curious as to random realtors from around the country, what's their opinion on how much you need to gross on an annual basis in order to have a normal lifestyle. So, you know what my recommendation to you would be? Save this video here or save this link and maybe come back to it in a week and see what everybody's comments are. There's going to be a lot of comments here. And I want you to kind of get some different opinions because it might help you with that little brain bender. It might help you with, I need a new goal. So do yourself a favor, leave a comment here below, but share this with another realtor. Maybe share it with your brokerage or your broker as well. Feel free to share this with anybody you'd like. If you are a broker, share this with your group, because I'd like to see everybody's opinion. And I think this is going to be a really good exercise that they don't teach us in real estate. NAR doesn't do this. Your local, your state, your local board doesn't do this. We don't really focus on helping the agent to become successful within their business. I think this is a really good conversation starter to get that going in your mind so you can start making more money for yourself. You deserve to succeed. Every agent that gives everything they've got, if they operate in a legal, moral, and ethical manner, they deserve to be successful. So what I want you to do is click the button below here to follow the page. And again, if you are not a member with us, I've got some really cool training in the video description. Go there right now. Let's grow your business. Let's get you out of debt and making you money. I'm Greg Luther. We'll talk to you soon. And bye-bye for now.